Good day, viewers. Good evening, depending on where you're watching from. This is BVI Channel 1, and we are live on GGM Hour, where we talk about good governance, and good governance touches every one of us wherever we reside. But today, we are concentrated, as usual, Nigerian governance. Nigerian governance has been marred with bad governance, and that's why GGM is committed for the advocacy for good governance. And tonight we are going to be putting on the table and cutting open what Soludo said at the platform during the Democracy Day. He talked about the topical issue that is affecting everyone in Nigeria today, minimum wage. Let us quickly listen once more. In case you have watched it before, take a look at it again critically. We are going to look at what he said. And when we come back, I have in the team here in the studio, joining me virtually, Ndubisi Enugu and Henry, to have this discussion with you, the Nigerian people, whether home or abroad. Every issue bordering about minimum wage affects each and every one of us, as long as you have anything to do with Nigeria. Let us quickly take Soludo's opinion regarding the minimum wage. Then when we come back, we will take your calls, and we expect you to share these videos. Make sure you get as many people as possible to be part of this, because they are watching. They want to know your opinion. They want to know your position, so that it will not be only from the GGM platform that is speaking up on this issue. I'll be right back. Don't go away.
Next question will be for Governor Soludo. During your presentation, you said Nigeria, with statistics, is a poor country. Now, the last 6 months, if you speak to a lot of people, there's a mantra you hear, Ebing Pami, Ebing Pami. People are saying they are hungry. Labor is asking for a new minimum wage. People are saying if you increase the wages, the public sector might struggle, the private sector might struggle, inflation might go up. What is your take on this new minimum wage?
I don't know who sent you. I don't know. Whoever sent you, tell them you didn't see me. Comment on minimum wage, and as a sitting governor, that's like going to roast corn and, on a petrol station. You know, because what are you going to say? I've said it in my lecture here. I did say, at a personal level, I won't comment deeply on that. There are deep conversations that need to have, which we missed the opportunity to have, which will probably someday we'll get to it. You know, discussion about minimum wage is a very emotional thing. The worker is saying, my wage can't take me home. And there's enumerates what he needs. Nobody is talking about productivity. Nobody is talking about ability to pay. Nobody is, and part of it, as I said during my presentation here, is the lifestyle, the impression that we gave from the public, this thing that all is well. They see those convoys of 30, 40, 50, can you tell him you cannot pay this much? Then they say, wait a minute, no, if a member of National Assembly can go home with this, why not? So, and we have all these parallels. I said, sometime I wish that we'll pay everybody minimum of 1 million. Okay? 2 million, 5 million even. I wish. But the reality is, you bring the numbers and put it on the table. I just said, at the best of estimates I can get, unless something changes tomorrow, federal government's actual revenue will probably not exceed 17 trillion this year. If you share it to all Nigerians, it comes to 6,160 naira per person per month. That's what it comes out per capita. If you take even the total 28.7 trillion and share, it will come down to 10,000 naira per person per month. I'm talking about per capita. If I take my state, I've told you, if you share every revenue that we got, it comes down to less than 2,500 per person. Now, but this money belongs to all Nigerians. That's what you need to provide infrastructure, fix schools, fix states, fix that, and so on and so forth. So, there is that general conversation that we're going to have. We're not talking about benchmarks or to the rest of the world and where we are and so on and so forth. Even where in the world they all have minimum wage annualized that is more than 30% of the per capita income. It's talking about carrying capacity. So this conversation is a very deep one, but not one that I want to get into, but I just want to make 2 quick points about it. First, we must make distinction between a national minimum wage and discussions about civil service minimum wage. Because there was a confusion as if the discussion was a negotiation between government and labor. No, as Governor Fashola mentioned, MSMEs, I think you mentioned that statistics, employs about, I think, 49-point-something million. That's what I heard. They are the largest employers. And I will leave you with this thought. I was talking with a farmer speaker. He's a former speaker. And I asked him whether he compare, and what we were gisting there. I will give him a microphone to say it, what he told me. Whether he compare into his own farm. I spoke to 9 small, medium enterprises in my state. 9. And the response by these 9 is interesting. None of them knew that the conversation was about them. None of them. In fact, one of them said, let them pay it now, let them. I said, no. What is being discussed is what you will pay. Say, no, not us. Okay. I'll tell you the conversation, 2 of them in particular. One happened to be a proprietress of a private school, and she has 26 staff. There's the gardeners, the cleaners, the gateman, the driver, the this, and so on. And I said to her, so how are you going to cope with this? He said, no, it doesn't pertain to us. I said, no, that once it becomes law, that's what you must pay. And you know her response? He says, in that case, they can come and close the school. Or, he said, do I know how much she pays the head teacher of her school? They are talking 60. He said, in that case, if she raises the school fees enough to be able to pay that all the children will run away. That's one. The second one happened to be one guy that produces some of this bottled water. And he has 33 staff. And you know, minimum wage applies once you employ up to a certain number, 25 or so, 10 or there, about 10 or 25 or whatever. It's mandatory. You will be prosecuted if you don't. So I said to the guy about him, he said, no, it's not for them. It's government. When I tried to convince him that it's also about him, what he's going to pay, his response was very interesting. He says, now, after buying diesel at the cost he's buying, that he's actually thinking of laying off some of the workers that they margin, because there is a limit to which he can increase prices. So the only thing he will do is to lay off some. He said, well, if they come and force me, then I close this place. Now, it's important that we understand that we are discussing the minimum which everybody will have to pay. The churches, the schools, the roadside bakery, the farmers who employ a certain number, everybody. Those SMEs that employ the 49-point-something million, they must pay this. That's what it is about. Once we understand it, no problem. That's the point. It's a very important thing that we understand, because we're not discussing civil service minimum salary, because they make it as if it is government versus us. Government versus, it's not government. Put it what it is, and then if I receive what I got in a month, I put it on the table, then you got to ask, how many staff can I pay? I have just recruited additional 8,115 teachers. For comparison, the Labour Party in the UK is proposing that if it wins the next election, it will recruit additional 6,400 and something teachers for the entire UK. In Anambra, in 2 years, I have recruited 8,115, and I have to pay them. So, the minimum wage thing, it goes, everybody is right. Everybody is right. The worker is right to say, what am I getting? Nobody is asking, what does the worker do? We're not asking that question yet. All we're saying is, how much does he need? He's right. And for me, even if you pay 1 million, 10 million, it's not enough. Fair enough. But on the other hand, you have to come back to reality. That we're talking about this MSMEs, the school, private schools, churches, so on and so forth. You have to pay your own driver that way. You have to pay your this and so on and so forth. We're all in it. Whatever they agree. We'll muddle through. So to speak. But maybe after 1 year, we will meet to discuss the consequences. The only challenge often is that, now talking about the consequences, I remind ourselves, in 1973, there was the famous Udoji Award. Udoji Award. Salaries were doubled. Yeah, workers and so on. The oil boom thing, what do we do with money? We double salaries. A few months after that, the average worker, about a year later, the average worker felt that he was better off before the boom. And so, I pity the president, because it will all be on his head. If the consequences come down, whatever it is, if whatever is negotiated is unsustainable or unpayable or whatever, months to come, who will bear the responsibility? Not me. So, months later, it will still come back. It is Tinubu, since he did this one didn't. Just like we're talking about this removal of subsidy. I think as I was discussing with you before we started, the subsidy was actually removed by the previous administration. It was removed by the previous administration because by their 2023 budget, they said they couldn't go beyond June. So by the law passed by the National Assembly, they had legislated that subsidy was going to end by June 2023 because we had reached the end. You couldn't go much further. But then this president comes, just at the beginning of it, the thing, I said, Tinubu, you remove subsidy. Anyway, so the consequence will still come back. If there is if it's dislocational, everybody will still go back to the president. But I think we can all get to the room and dialogue and discuss how this thing can be fixed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That is it. That is the position of that's the position of what do you call him? Soludo. All right. And we will review this while we bring on our people who are coming in through visually to join us in this conversation. Meanwhile, we expect you to call let us review what he said. What Soludo said here is what we are reviewing, and we expect everyone to join us in this conversation. This is a live interactive section, and we hope that everyone will join us to appraise Soludo's position regarding the minimum wage. All right, this is still BVI Channel 1, and we hope that every one of us who are watching from everywhere and have heard what Soludo have said is up to actually giving us what we want. Now, let me not distract. Let me quickly bring on some of our discussants to have this discussion with me. Okay. But before then, let us have a refresh and have some technical setup that is giving us a little glitch. All right. So let us quickly take this one a bit, and I'll be right back.
Yeah. Next question will be for Governor Soludo. During your presentation, you said Nigeria, with statistics, is a poor country. Now, the last 6 months, if you speak to a lot of people, there's a mantra you hear, Ebing Pami, Ebing Pami. People are saying they are hungry. Labor is asking for a new minimum wage. People are saying if you increase the wages, the public sector might struggle, the private sector might struggle, inflation might go up. What is your take on this new minimum wage?
I don't know who sent you. I don't know. Whoever sent you, tell them you didn't see me. Comment on minimum wage, and as a sitting governor, that's like going to roast corn and, on a petrol station. You know, because what are you going to say? I've said it in my lecture here. I did say, at a personal level, I won't comment deeply on that. There are deep conversations that need to have, which we missed the opportunity to have, which will probably someday we'll get to it. You know, discussion about minimum wage is a very emotional thing. The worker is saying, my wage can't take me home. And there's enumerates what he needs. Nobody is talking about productivity. Nobody is talking about ability to pay. Nobody is, and part of it, as I said during my presentation here, is the lifestyle, the impression that we gave from the public, this thing, that all is well. They see those convoys of 30, 40, 50, can you tell him you cannot pay this much? Then they say, wait a minute, no, if a member of National Assembly can go home with this, why not? So, and we have all these parallels. I said, sometime I wish that we'll pay everybody minimum of 1 million. Okay? 2 million, 5 million even. I wish. But the reality is, you bring the numbers and put it on the table. I just said, at the best of estimates I can get, unless something changes tomorrow, federal government's actual revenue will probably not exceed 17 trillion this year. If you share it to all Nigerians, it comes to 6,160 naira per person per month. That's what it comes out per capita. If you take even the total 28.7 trillion and share, it will come down to 10,000 naira per person per month. I'm talking about per capita. If I take my state, I've told you, if you share every revenue that we got, it comes down to less than 2,500 per person. Now, but this money belongs to all Nigerians. That's what you need.
All right, well, welcome back again. Sorry about that very brief interruption. And I believe those who are joining, this is live on BVI Channel 1 GGM Hour. And to progress in this program, we expect you to be part of this conversation, okay? But we are here to address very important issue that affects every one of us. And joining me, the GGM team, is Ndubisi and Enugu, as well as Henry, who is joining me virtually. Every one of them is already seated. Hello, gentlemen. Good evening, and welcome to the program tonight. You can unmute yourself. Let us begin to dissect what Soludo said, because if us we are going to dissect it to the hearing and understanding of everyone. Ndubisi, you are welcome. You are welcome to the program. Harry.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, the GGM team is to go. Now, let us begin with the minimum wage and the opinion of Soludo. Soludo said that the minimum wage is not sustainable, although we can give him the benefit of doubt. He said that what do you say? That the people is the emotional thing. It is neither there or here. Everybody is right. The government is right. The workers demanding for a better wage is also right. And him as a politician, as a sitting governor, if he say one and against the other, then there is a problem. Do you think that this guy is saying the truth, all the truth that he got to say, or is just being political about very important thing that affects everyone? Let us start with the village economist in the BC.
Yes, thank you, Chine. And greetings to everybody, our viewers all over the world. You know, the truth remains that when government fails, every other thing, every other sector component of the system also will go down with the failure of the government. And having said that, I just want to state one thing, that Professor Soludo is trying to be smart. He is a professor of economics. He knows everything. I've read him over the years, his opinion and his views over the political economy and how to get the system right and how to build a competitive economy. His own publications over the years that the kind of federal system of government we operate is a feeding bottle federalism. I got it from him precisely. That the present system we have is not sustainable and can never be sustained. The class lecturing my students, economic students, and telling them what ought to be.
They like it or not, we are still recording it and we are still going to republish it. They are still going to hear it. So go to continue.
Right.
Let's continue as much as the network can carry us.
All right, Chinedu, like I said the fact remains, the truth is sacrosanct. You can never change. With the present situation of things, the minimum what an average worker is paid is not enough to take him home. And for emphasis, I want the public to note that it is government or somebody SME that this discussion is about everybody, whether he can pay. No, it's the responsibility of government to look into the business and know those things that will stop them from paying certain amount of money. It's not for government what and say private business. It is their business. business is not our business. No, government is father for all. They are father for all. They use different mechanisms, instruments, measures to ensure that private sector or companies maximize profit, make normal profit, and should be able to pay living wage. The current system we have is slavery, exploitative. From government is highest through taxation, the position of taxation, through factor of production, like what we have now. When we have crude oil, we have yeah, we have gas, electricity. If you manipulation of cost, operational cost, that from these factors of production, this input, natural resources that God has given us. If they touch that place, if they want to minimize cost, okay, children, to look at it. If you give a manufacturer, somebody producing pure water, 24 hours electricity as a considerable minimal cost, haven't you reduced his cost of production? That marginal reduction can make assist the producer to pay whatever wage he's asked to pay, because you have taken care of that side. If you take care of fuel, for instance, this fuel increase from 130 to 800 naira, or 187 naira to 800 naira. If you take care of it, reduce cost of PMS per liter to 87 naira. Who is saying it's not possible? Who is saying it's not possible to reduce at 100 naira? And then if a manufacturer makes normal profit, he can pay wage a certain amount. These are the things government will sit around the table. It's not a matter of sitting around the table and telling them, can you pay 100,000? No, you have to look at those things that will make them not to pay. You have to look at taxation. Who is saying that you cannot give them tax holiday? Because they've employed up to 30 people, because they've assisted you to handle major economic problems, which unemployment is one of them. About 130 million Nigerians are unemployed, and yet it's not bothering government. So the discussion should go beyond certain minimum wage. It has to do with this present feeding bottle fed of government, which is not sustainable. So that is where Soludo and the likes should be talking. They should be addressing it. That Tunimbu, if you want to handle this thing will collapse Nigeria. We can't go like that. It's not sustainable. We can't be feeding senators, paying senators something million, while paying an average worker 60,000 naira. You should be thinking like a state governor in Anambra State. Since Soludo has in fact, he has no plan for housing. He has no plan for transportation. I've never seen like trackers saying, because of this high cost of transportation, I am floating, I am funding, I am giving subvention. All over the world, you pay subsidy to certain things. I'm giving support to transport company to enable them move people from this place to this place at a considered do that. I have not seen him intervening a very high cost of rentage in Anambra State. An average worker is paying to stay in a decent accommodation, flat in Oka, on average 600,000 to 800,000 naira, and they are paying a minimum wage. Say, okay, let's even say 100,000 naira. That is 1.2 million naira. A graduate secures a job and you are paying him 100,000 naira minimum wage, while average on annual basis he pays 600,000 naira for house accommodation alone. Chinedu, think about it. Let me allow Henry to make his own contribution. Thank you. Hello, Chinedu there.
Harry. Harry, are you there?
Okay, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, very quickly. You know, this conversation around the minimum wage for me is really like a kind of roller coaster. It's a tricky one, but I believe that looking at the situation of things in this country, that minimum wage needs to be paid out to Nigerian workers. But then we still have to look at, because it's not just about paying. For you to actually be able to pay, you must. I tried to look at that, listen to that Soludo speech. Do you understand? He made some points as to why most of the states will not be able to pay some of this minimum wage. Even though I will not want to agree with him, because there are a lot of stuff states can do. There are a lot of options, like increasing their IGR to live up to expectations in terms of being able to raise the IGR to be able to fend for themselves, irrespective of federal allocation, and plus other initiatives. But when you take a holistic look at this IGR minimum wage, and historically, just like in the UK, I don't in the US, I don't think there's anything they call minimum unified minimum wage. I'm of the opinion that states should pay according to their capacity, because it's not just about saying agreeing on one. I run into a conversation yesterday. I don't know, I wouldn't confirm whether it's true or not. I learned that as I did between 18K to 25,000 minimum wage, while Benin, those states is, so you could see the strength and capacity of these two states. So when you now come to because Messias Obaseke of those states must pay 70. At the end of the day, by the time OT is able to pay that 70, like Edo, you find that there's nothing left to cater for other sectors of the economy of Abia State. So how is now a challenge to governors? And how do we... Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you. It's just that the network is playing hide and seek with us. We can hear you. Henry, go on.
We can hear you, Henry.
Can I go on?
Yes, go on. Go on. Go on, Harry. You are being heard.
Like
go
I was
on.
saying before, you don't expect Abia to be as stupid as you look at the whole overview. A Nigerian worker come to this country now. Time shall come when people may know what to do. Hello?
I think you are being thrown off. We can hear you actually, Henry. Go on. We can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So my take is that while the government should be able to come up with a strategy on how to arrive at a basic minimum wage away from what is currently obtainable, you should also be concerned on the fact that, because it's not all about the minimum wage, having enough resources to also take care of other sectors of the state economy. That is my stake for now. But what I will advise, do you understand? Like Soludo said in his this thing, this situation calls for stringent measures. Governors need to wake up and begin to think outside the box. Do you understand? Like the lot of, you look at our system outside this bottle, feeding bottle, making that is the political cycle. Only today, some of the pretenders in the House of Representatives are talking about buying a new jet for the president and VP. You now begin to the level of irresponsibility and clear lack of our leaders. So what I'm thinking is that why, because you don't go and enjoy, then turn around and tell the common man, that's the civil servants, not to have right to agitate to increase in payment. So my opinion is that the political circle should as much as possible be able to reduce cost of governance, increase the IGR, and be able to down on the lot of what I call Edu. Thank you.
All right, Henry, thank you very much. I think the network was really not very friendly with us today, but we have touched some critical issues. But Mago, this issue, I know we are as if to say that not too long. You know, people or they call big English can. So what we're talking about is the minimum wage of an average worker in Nigeria here, considering the standard of living now. Okay, when people may call it living wage, the amount being proposed by the government, when Soludo is saying that if you are saying it's not sustainable, that even private sectors cannot pay, how much more government will not be able to pay the minimum wage of 60,000, for instance. And truly, what he said is true, that like this establishment, BVI Channel 1, we try as much as possible to pay our workers on a minimum wage, and also some who are having a part-time work, who have other works to do, who have one or two works to do, are paid based on their productivity and their time. And I think that is where the government should come in and change the whole system. You can't keep somebody tied down for a whole day in a school working as a teacher, and perhaps the time he's supposed to spend and discharge his work can be done within 3 hours or 4 hours. Why don't you leave that person at liberty to have more than one work to do, so that he will be able to augment, just like it's been done at other places, and pay people per hour? And also, government will also look at improving on the factors of production, so that manufacturers who are absorbing majority of workforce will be able to pay their salaries, their workers' salaries with ease. Not when you are hitting the government policies is skyrocketing the production costs. Just look at the federal government. After removing subsidy, fuel hit the rooftop. Not even that we have constant electricity. You depend on generator. Somebody that is spending 1,000 naira, for instance, or 10,000 naira, for instance, every day to fuel his generator for his production per day will now be spending 500,000 naira. You know the cost that he has taken away, or he has brought upon the manufacturer, and the income that he has eaten, which could be distributed among the workers if all things being equal. If you have electricity, government is irresponsible, and Soludo should be bold enough as an economist to tell Tinubu the truth and not have baked truth. And that is the position of this platform. And that is what we're doing here. And what we expect people to do is to be part of this advocacy, to speak out. We can't allow this thing to continue like this. And I'll still make this comment on our regular video, not on the live video. And those who are watching, what is your own take? Because we're talking about you. We are talking about your living wage. Okay, is it not we that have planned to go into agricultural production? What encouragement is Soludo giving to cooperatives in Anambra State to move into agriculture, to mechanize agriculture, to create employment for the people, so that an average teacher, so that an average unemployed youth who would work from morning till 12 o'clock in the school can now go and have another time to be a farmer or work in a farm establishment. What will it take Soludo, and why can't these people tell themselves the truth? And that is the truth we're saying right here. Ndubisi, as an economist, you should know better. I don't know if you'll be the one to now start lecturing your lecturer, because he has now become a politician. So, Henry, what would you say? Henry.
Hello? Hello, Mr. Chinedu?
Yes, I can hear you.
So what, can you just revert back? I couldn't hear you the first time.
No, we are saying generally, when the government is saying that it is not sustainable, I'm putting it to Soludo that he is not telling all the truth. That it is the government that have the responsibility to do what is needed so that it will be sustainable. It is them that's jacked up the factors of production, and you're telling us that it is not sustainable to pay workers a living wage that can take them home. What are they doing? Just like Ndubisi said, what are they doing to improve in housing so that workers will be able to pay their rent? So that whatever thing you are paying them will be enough for them. The cost of production is hitting the rooftop. How do you expect manufacturers to pay their workers after buying fuel at the price or gas at the price they are buying now? Let us take this call. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, good evening, brother. Is the program still live?
It is still live. Go on.
Yes, I'm enjoying your program. I'm from London. Listening to what you're saying about the minimum wage, I listened to our dear governor, His Excellency Soludo. He made valid point, very valid point.
Yes.
You as the presenter, you are making very valid point. The workers themselves, they are making very valid points.
Everybody is correct.
We all know that Nigeria has problem. And the problem of Nigeria is not just that of government. It's that of the citizens too.
I agree with you.
I sympathize with our Nigerian workers because they are the only ones that pay correct tax in Nigeria. They are the only ones who get the tax deducted correctly at source from their salaries. When you come into Onitsha, where you are based, if you sincerely collect tax from every businessman, the money you are looking for to develop Anambra State will be generated overnight. If you go to Oka and other areas and collect tax from people who are supposed to be paying tax, we will have money. But let everybody not sit back. Let everybody not sit back and talk about what government should do. when they are not even discharging their own civic responsibilities.
I agree with you.
In the UK, my council tax in the area where I live is £2,400 a year. That is what I pay to my local authority, so that they can take my dustbin and they can put police on the street. And that's my council tax, outside the tax I pay for the work I do. If I want to urinate and I couldn't urinate in my house, if I go out on the street, I will pay to urinate on the street. So, every job you do, at the end of the year, you make sure you pay your tax to the government. It's only after you have done all this that you can rightly come out that your government do something for you in return. When we are talking about minimum wage, what the governor said is completely true. If you increase the wage to 100,000, you at GGM will be expected to pay 100,000 to your staff.
Of course.
Can you? There is nowhere in the world that people depend on one job.
Exactly.
And one job is paying all your bills.
Mm-hmm.
But in Nigeria, we have enjoyed so much that we are finding it difficult to do the right thing. Somebody go and you go to the beer parlor to drink and eat pepper soup. On Thursday, he's already looking forward to weekend. Saturday, nothing. Sunday, nothing. Due to our situation, on Mondays, we have sit at home. And people just wander around, playing football, eating pepper soup, going to different occasions, even when they're not invited. This is the time you can use to do things that we. What is taxi driver in Nigeria? What is stopping an accountant being a security man in Nigeria? So people stay in their comfort zone, and you think one job will pay for all you need? The United Kingdom, you combine with your wife, and the children are still living in your house. When they start working, they will pay towards the bills too. So there are so many things we have to. There are so many things we have to do to get this thing right. I had you
Speaking, it is well articulated and right on point. I agree with you totally with what you just said in your submission. But now let us have this conversation a little bit further. Where should it start? Should it start from the people or should it start from the government? I believe it should start from the government because
simultaneously.
The government takes the lead. Because what Soludo said. Hello?
You see, who is the government?
That's what I'm saying. We're talking about the people who are making policies, whose policies are affecting the entire system. Let's start with the government. It is the government that dictates, that makes policies. It is the government policies that jacked up the cost of production, aspect of our economy that can create jobs, reduce poverty and hunger in the land. What has government done about it?
Can I take you on agriculture?
Yes. After I've addressed this particular last one. Now, what the conclusion in this my narrative is, what actually is government doing? What responsibility are they taking to make sure that even if he pays, it is not about the amount of money you pay. That is not even our argument. Our argument is addressing the living cost and also the production cost in Nigeria. You can go on, my brother.
Right, let's talk about agriculture. Where is the farming going to take place? On the land that has been sold? Where is the farming going to take place? Go back to the village and see what is happening. Everybody is an estate agent. When you sell a piece of land, it doesn't belong to you anymore. So when you decide to farm, where do you go? I want you to answer this question.
Government is the owner of all the lands.
To stop the community from selling. Can government buy all those lands from the communities?
No, hang on. We're having this conversation.
Okay.
The caller is he is making a valid point, which we must really look into. Now, when you're saying that it is the people, private sectors grabbing all the lands, real estate everywhere, who is in control of land in Nigeria? It is the state governors, all the land. It is the state government that owns all the land. So
who takes the money when land is being sold?
That's what I'm telling you. It is government that regulates land. They should address the issue of their Land Use Act. It is the government that will do that. It is not the people. You know, when the government is acting irresponsibly, that is when the gaps are being filled by non-state actors.
In as much as I want to agree with you, because I know you're a very intelligent man, you will also agree with me, and so is other panel on this program, that the issue of land sales is outside the control of government. When you go back to the village and say, I want to sell this land that my father left for me, Soludo will not come from Oka to stop you. You sell it, buy a very good car, drive it for 2 years, the car is and you're back on the street. And when you decide to farm, I was watching a program the other day. I saw the one happening towards Enugu State. They are now beginning to sell those ones. One rich man buy a very big plot of land, fence it, plot it, and start selling again. And where do you think this will take anybody? All these things is done without planning, without thinking about farming, without even thinking where the children in future will go. So you grab a piece of land, sell it for 50 million, buy a very good car, have few good time, and the money is finished. So you go back to your communal land where you normally farm, and that land has been sold. So you're talking about agriculture now. My question is, if you decide to farm, where would that farming take place?
We still have lands. For instance,
gentlemen, can I come in this one?
All right, Ndubisi, I think Ndubisi, let me start with Ndubisi first. He can answer that and then we proceed.
Okay.
Let me come in. I'm sorry, I understand what the person from UK, his own position. You know, he's trying. Maybe he has worked with government, or he's still working with them. You know, but his own view that people are selling off their lands, you know, is a fact. Yes, it's a fact. Like I said, when government fails, every other thing fails. Whose responsibility is it to plan regional planning, rural planning? Whose responsibility is it to provide for massive land for agriculture? It is government. Government plans for everything. Even during the time of MI Opara acquired thousands of hectares of land for agricultural estates here and there. But this time around, I don't know what is wrong with our governors. Governors are not interested in agriculture. Governors are just not interested, many of them, but I can see Governor Mba see his move towards that side. But I've not seen anything coming from Soludo. When Obiano was there, Obiano tried to acquire some lands, but at the end of the day, he used those lands for private use. But what I'm
The network is playing a prank on
not
him.
let him not blame individual. Government is like a referee. They intermediate when things are going wrong. When you notice that communities are selling their lands, it is even the government that will call meeting among the PGs and the Igwes and tell them the plan he has for massive food production. It is not done. Government does those things to encourage people to even go into agriculture. Is an absence of that that ọ bụzi oke n'ofe ngwere
Well,
n'ụzọ,
Anoza.
people are na-emezi anything ha chọrọ ime. So let me conclude there.
All right. Henry, just chip in one or two so that our brother who is joining from UK will make his own submission because we're almost wrapping up. This conversation is very deep.
Okay, please, can you hear me?
Go on.
Hello? Okay, yeah, very close too, because it will be very, very uncharitable to say that some of the, government is not just doing something. Not the best is not. As we speak, Anambra has 3 food belts in the state. Anambra state story for another day. But on the part where our brother was saying that it's basically individuals should own up. Individuals respond to government policies, not the other way around. Government should be able to put in place certain conditions to promote mechanized farming, because you can't use an inherited land to do mechanized farming. It's a long way off. Yeah, so while we try to push some of these things to individuals, I think government should be in the vanguard in anything agricultural policy, because you need to create an economy around agriculture so that people will react to it. That's my take. Thank you.
All right, my brother, you can come in and make your submission because we'll be wrapping up any moment.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, in Anambra State, we do arable farming. That's what we do. We don't do mechanized farming. In the olden days, your mom will ask you to go and get some vegetable from your farm for lunch or for dinner, and you can get it from there. And the government doesn't come to plot farming land for communities. This is a fact. The communities go out the area where they farm and plot the farming land and give it out to widows to farm. And you have your yam, your cocoyam, your vegetable. But if the same community who have control and the autonomy of this land have found a quick way to make money by selling them, I still stand by my point. The damage has been done. The damage has been done.
I don't think that government actually should be thinking more of microeconomics of per individual or per household. I think that should be covered by the macroeconomic policies of government, which will now trickle down to households and individuals.
Anambra State have agric establishment in Umpole Naga along the express. If somebody asks why government have abandoned that project, I will clap for you.
Yeah.
that farm extends from the express to Nkwele Zunaka and towards Omonia. They do every sort of farming there. But from my investigation recently, they were plotted into housing estate by a certain government. And you go up there now, you find nice houses. You know where I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
That is a farming, Nkwele farm. It belongs to Anambra State. If the government did not plot it into a fanciful build housing estate, that will be enough at least to provide meat and poultry and vegetable and expertise to farmers. Because in those days, if you're having problem with your crops, you can easily go there and ask them what to do. But the government have plotted it, sold it, and if you go there now, rich people are living there.
You see, that's exactly what we're saying.
So that one is the government fault for plotting farming land, agri settlement that employed people as well and provide expertise. The government plotted it, sold it, and rich people have built houses there.
Okay, what about the Bariam farm settlement that was made by M.I. Opara?
Well, what is there? Go to the governor and ask the governor and say, look, once upon a time we have Nkwele farm, which is taking care of meat, vegetable, palm produce, so many things. What's happened to it? You can ask the governor, what about it? Then you are talking. But when people accuse government without mentioning specific facts, it's very, very difficult for government to understand. Let me address what the allegation, the accusation, one of the guys in today's discussion made. Please, I have never worked for government, and I don't intend to work for government. I will, but I don't have the opportunity to serve my people. I have never sought one, and I've never been given one. So please, this is my answer to that allegation.
Thank you very much. It's very clear. And honestly speaking, I appreciate your contribution this evening on this program. It is right on point. And this is the kind of brain storm we needed to shape in our society very well. Like, for instance, I know you must have heard about GGM cooperative agricultural program, where we've been asking government. We've been writing to government. In fact, I and my team had gone to the Ministry of Agriculture to ask for land. Give us land. Government have plenty land. In fact, the last one we went to last week, or is it this week? Yes, this week. We discovered that government have taken all of those lands. Is captured by government. The land that we wanted to use for agriculture. Even some of the community members don't even know about it. Although some do know. But government have left it fallow. There are many land that government have acquired. And it is left fallow without doing anything with it. Leaving it to be very unproductive. And community and cooperative like ours are asking and begging, snatching our teeth and working hard to raise funds in order to acquire land. No quality I can on your sense. I go and I go the mother. Why not the palace? There are lands everywhere. But because of the responsibility of some people in government, cooperatives or investors in agriculture, that one is just one in agriculture, are being frustrated.
So the government we are talking about are our brothers, our sisters,
of course,
our father, our mothers. They are part of us. I believe that the governor in Anambra State, His Excellency Soludo, he is an educated man. I believe if you take your plan to him, government don't work fast anywhere in the world. You might put your filing for government and it will take 3 years for them to attend to it. So let nobody lose hope. Don't lose hope, my brother. I watch everything you do, and I'm glad to be associated with you. Send a request and plan to the governor. It will work, but it will take time. There is nowhere in the world that the government works overnight. If you come in the United Kingdom and you want to have permanent residence here, sometimes it takes 10 years. It takes 10 years. But when that 10 years come, it will look like a day. It's like a woman in labor. So I will encourage you to keep doing what you are doing. You are seen all over the world. There is nowhere life is cheap. Nowhere. It's even more difficult here in the UK. It's even much more difficult in the United States of America. Nigeria is a very nice place where everything is working for us. Our academic system is not helping us. The students are not prepared to be productive. They go there, they put all the theories in their head, put it out on the exam, they come out with first class. But then they are not prepared enough for life. And they come out and they continue to struggle. These things are not things that you look at and you are very happy. In the United Kingdom, students of nursing in the final year already have job. They are in their final year writing their final exams. But the hospitals have employed them. But in Nigeria, you will finish school of nursing and everything, and 5 years down the line, you are still looking for a job. Do we not have enough sick people for these people to be employed? We have sick people, but there is no money. How do we generate money? By everybody coming together, put hands together, and see what is wrong with our society. But if we blame the government from today till tomorrow, the government are our brothers, they are our citizens, they are part of us, they don't have a different community. So everybody is suffering. And we have to understand that we are in trouble and find a better way to help ourselves instead of blame game.
All right, thank you very much for your submission, my brother. You've made a very important, valid point, and we appreciate you for joining on this live program tonight. Thank you very much, and we hope that you're going to join us next week as we continue on many other issues bordering around good governance.
I will continue to join.
All right, that is it for our brother, and back to the studio with Ndubisi and Henry. You've heard all our brothers say it. How do you react to it? Quickly, let us do this and wrap it up for today. Henry, are you there? What of Ndubisi? Are you still there? Can network a wepugun?
No, I'm still here.
All right, go on. Come on. Let's have your reaction quickly on what our brother said so far, then we wrap it up.
Is him your own DBC?
Okay, let's start with Ndubisi, the village economist. But I would like to start with Henry. Then the village economist will conclude. Henry, we are waiting. Network in Nigeria can appear Catenis.
Okay, yeah. So in summary of pushing, so in some, because at a point it looked like our primary point of conversation was around minimum wage. So for me, what I think government should start doing right now is that it's not just good to promise what one cannot pay.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any unified minimum wage. I'm sure, apart from Lagos, Rivers, and few other states, none of the other states have capacity to pay all this, even if it's 100,000. So states should be able to find out what they can be able to pay, and subsequently try to increase it and work towards their IGR and reducing cost of governance, so they're able to have enough money to pay.
I
That's
think Yeah, I think what you're saying is correct.
Thank you.
They should reduce the cost of governance. Is it not in Nigeria that they are approving another new jet, another new aeroplane for president? Why they are asking the citizens to fasten their seat belts and also tighten their belly? They themselves, they are opening up their gluteus to eat everything, opening up their belly to swallow everything swallowable. They are not ready to make any sacrifice. It is the Nigerian citizens that are burnt offering. Let me use that word. The living sacrifice for the politicians to live in their luxury.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Ndubis, how do you react to that very quickly so that we can wrap up? We've done justice to this.
Yeah, anyway, thank you. I want to respond to what my brother from UK said, that governments all over the world is slow to act, to request from citizens. I want to disagree with him. It's not true. Meanwhile, all those places he stay, is it not government that organize the cities? Cities that water is running, electricity, waste management, land for agriculture, loan. If you need credit, you access it. If you graduate like nursing school, he made reference to that people will graduate from nursing school 6 months, 6 years, no job. Course content, university. I mean, the education system, certificate education system we have in Nigeria, is it me, the ordinary people? Because you said we should stop blaming all this blame game and start organizing. I still insist that once government fails, every other thing fails. We have been trying to assist ourselves, organize ourselves. That is why we are organizing ourselves through cooperative, contributing in susu and what have you, to assist our members with finance. This is because the the banking system in Nigeria has failed to intermediate between the deficit and surplus sector of the economy. Is it not government, central bank, that should make it happen? Why is he saying that everything is not blame game? Is people should not do anything. If once government is up and running, people will also be up and running. If you fail to do what you're supposed to do, government has instrument of the force. Government has law. It's government that put the law in place. The government that put court to judge you. They will send you to prison. I don't know why some people are turning mathematics upside down. In overseas where he's referring to, America, UK, I mean, is there any case of estimated billing system? Chinedu, we were with somebody that is into production, a manufacturer yesterday. What did the man tell us? A electricity bill that you used to pay 2 point something million naira was jacked up to 13 million naira because of irresponsibility of government. And somebody said I should not blame, we shouldn't be blame them always. It's mind-boggling. Life is, yes, we believe that life is easy here because Nigerians are special set of people. We are too prayerful. We are too prayerful. If the fact is that no part of the world, I mean, Nigeria can take all sorts of rubbish because of what people, I think, what people have said. We are too religious here. I don't think this part of the world will take what we are taking here. And people believe that life is free here. People are suffering and people are dying. This is a country where medical doctors will have certificate to kill, and they will kill you, put bill on you, and you must pay before you carry your brothers or sisters' cup, and nobody does anything. Next day, somebody will ask you, go to court. Which court are you going? Go to court. Court will listen to you. My dear children, in conclusion, because our discussion today is for minimum wage, and my own position remains that is not above minimum wage. If it's above minimum wage, state can pay 250,000 naira every month. If they reduce cost, in Afukwa, how many vehicles they so governor Nazo?
I'm yet to come to that in the BC self. I'm yet to come to that self. I
In
know the cost of. Let the politicians, let all the elected politicians be paid minimum wage.
Yes, exactly.
I wonder why some people, Henry, are saying that state cannot, some state cannot pay. Meanwhile, those states cannot pay. At the end of the day, EFCC will if we're going to dig, is in a state they cannot pay.
Unified minimum wage.
Henry, world over in UK, there is minimum wage. And when like students or workers, I say don't pay below per hour. If not per hour, per hour. In US, I think per hour is $10 for students. My nephew in US, a student undergraduate, he works at least 40 hours a week. The government will set it that you cannot work beyond, I think minimum hours you must work in a week is 40 hours.
In the UK, 20 hours every week.
Yeah. So what are you saying that no country said? No, government will set minimum.
There's no specified unified minimum wage.
It's uniform. What we are saying is unified. What are you saying? In a state, they will say don't $10, don't go beyond $10 per hour. Because if you go below $10 or £10 per hour, it's slavery. It's government that will set it. Go to Israel. Israel will calculate your housing is equal to this, your feeding is equal to this, you have 4 children, and calculate it. Henry, do you know how much I pay my laborer that work in my farm in the village? I pay him 7,000 naira every 7,000 naira a day. Assuming he works for a day, 7,000 naira laborer. Assuming he works for 25 days in a month, is more than 169,000 naira. What are we doing? You can't tell me that you cannot pay 60,000 naira. But what I expect Soludo to do, you have to make your workers to be productive. You have to say condition attached to this payment is performance bonus. If you are working under the revenue, this is the revenue office, this is your target. Like federal inland revenue. Do you know as a graduate, if you secure job there, it's more than 250,000 naira. Go to CBN, if you secure job in CBN, do you know how much they pay their workers on NCC? You know how much NCC pay? You know how much NNPC or BPE paid? So under state government, why can't you put like people working under revenue, teachers? You say teachers pay 150,000 naira. I provide housing for your housing loan, leave allowance. I provide a car allowance once you are up to 10 years in service, depending on your performance. This is what I expect that an economist to be thinking. Performance bonus based on your performance, productivity. I'll pay productivity bonus. Your basic salary is social amount. You make your workers. The fact is that civil servants, I'm saying it here in the open. Civil servants are not, many of them are not productive. What they just do every month, they wait to collect money.
Exactly.
So even if you pay them 1 million naira every month, it can never be enough. If you pay them 100,000 naira, 100,000 naira is not adding any value to your government. You are just like paying people for not doing anything on the unemployment allowance. That is what
that's just it's just a social security. As far as I'm concerned.
Social security. Most of these civil servants are frustrating productivity, production. Most of them are sitting in the office, frustrating productivity. So what I expect to do,
opportunity, I say the government to relieve many of them. Let them go to the farm.
Yes, I will set up a farm like that. Teach them how to make money. I will set up a poultry farm. Make a civil servant managers there. Give them 1,000 beds. If you after 60 weeks, I will come and buy that 1,000 beds
From you.
you. You
Very
dey-
productive.
see, they will even see that they will be making more money than 200,000 naira or 250,000 naira
That you
minimum
cannot
wage.
pay them as
The
minimum
guy
wage.
from UK, they have what we call food exchange in UK. Go where government dey encourage farmers to produce, go bring that production to food exchange. They will buy it from you. Is it not happening in UK where he is? I
That's
don't
why
know why
that's why
people are.
our government subsidize food now. That's why foods are cheap every other place apart from
I don't know why
Nigeria.
people are giving excuses for government that we shouldn't blame them. They are failures, and after the 3 years, 4 years in office, let them come back and ask for votes. This is what we'll be asking them, reminding them. If you don't have idea, don't go there. You don't sit there and expect me to give you expo or to ask me or Chinedu, keep on writing them, keep on begging them. Why should you beg them? Why should you write them? They should know what to do. And meanwhile, some of those things are written in their manifesto that they will do this, they will do this, they will do this. As soon as they get in there, they will just dump their manifesto somewhere.
Na-ekwu
What
okwu
are we
manifesto
saying?
manifesto nke ji aka deko gava kọpịtala akọpịta.
So
Hello?
we have to be reminding them. If it's to be specific, of course, I'll give
Gentlemen,
we'll give specific examples.
hello? Hello?
Yeah, Harry.
Hello, look, what
And
I still insist on what I'm saying. Do you understand? It's
You
not like
can,
government shouldn't pay that minimum wage, but it's not like what happened with ASU and FG around is it 2011? They signed agreement on a certain amount to pay NUC. Till today, they've not honored that agreement. NUC keep going to strike. So what I'm saying,
it is irresponsibility not to
at the
honor
government
it.
level,
It is irresponsibility not because they
I'm
don't
coming.
have money. Not because
I'm
they don't
coming.
have money. Let's define what we are.
That's what I'm saying. Let there be a unity of purpose so that government and labor could agree on a payable minimum wage. Because labor ab initio started with 600,000. From 600,000, before we know it now come down to 60,000, and we're even still discussing it. So my point is this: all the stakeholders should come to a round table. They put the facts on the table. Look at what states must be willing and able to pay, because it's not just about paying minimum wage. You know, sometimes we speak like outsiders. I try to put myself in mode of these guys outside the wastage and the corruption and what have you. If they bring the aggregates of their IGR and all their gettings and put on this table and expunge based on the new, let's say, 100,000, by the time a state that has like Nigeria 10 billion naira monthly and have a wage bill after the increment of 7 billion, after let's say they adopted minimum wage of 100,000, then they are getting 10 billion naira monthly IGR with federal allocation. Then with increment in minimum wage, their wage bill is now 7 billion. So you now expect a state that gets 10 billion to spend more than 80% of their gettings on payment of less than 2% of the population. Do you get my point? So that's what I'm saying. Let all the parties come together based on reality on ground, agree a common figure, or if it's not possible, states should be able to identify what is their capacity and pay, and now go back to the drawing board and find a way to rack up their IGR, promote and sustain and support SMEs, give them incentive so that they should be able to grow their businesses and be able to pay their workers what is very close to the minimum wage. That's my take for now. Thank you,
all right, gentlemen. We are far gone on our program today. I appreciate every one of you for your contribution, Harry, Ndubisi, and the caller. And also, we can't forget those who are dropping comments on the comment section. We appreciate every one of you who had come. Pan Afro, we appreciate you. We appreciate Worldman. We also appreciate Nicholas. And you know, I appreciate every one of you who have joined in this program, made your contribution. We hope to continue, and we hope network will be more stable next time, and we will not have these technical glitches we had today. But nevertheless, it's a good discussion. If you're watching and you've watched this far, please share Continue subscribing, continue liking, continue sharing, and let us continue shaping and making our society a better place. On the next time, in summary, as far as I'm concerned in all of this, we will say that it is not an amount of money you pay as minimum wage that matters. It is the responsibility of government to ensure a livable environment through factors of production, so that no matter how small that is being paid, the society and the system will be sustainable, and the people will be, the place will be livable. Let me just keep it that way. And that is the summary and the position of GGM Good Governance Ministry. And this time we're signing out. Stay safe, stay blessed, and enjoy the rest of your weekend as much as you can. I'm also Chinadu Peters, signing out tonight on today's program. Bye-bye. No, me say, the park, yeah, oh, but that's